Yeah.
What I want to talk about today is, everyone talks about the battle and wars, but for me, the biggest battle that you fight every single day is the battle on your mind, right? There's a war for your attention. There's a war for influencing your thoughts. There's a war on your feelings. Every single day that you wake up and talk to someone, watch TV, pick up your phone, you're at battle. And I would say the majority of people who we call, I guess, drifters, if any of you guys have ever read Outwitting the Devil, are people who have lost this battle or are currently losing this battle, right? So the enemy is taken over and they wake up and they lose the battle to social media, to news, to influences every single day they wake up. So I guess the biggest question is, how do you prepare your mind? How do you protect your mind with a shield? How do you build a fortress around it? And I remember I read a book last year, 3 Simple Steps by Trevor Blake, and he talks about this in the very first chapter as one of the 3 of the simple steps. One of those is actually building, I can't remember the exact terminology he talked about, but basically building your barrier around your mind or putting on your shield. There's a specific term, if anybody knows it or has read the book, let me know, as I'm going to spend the whole time here trying to think about what that term is. But your mentality shield, that's what he calls it. And what he says is that when you wake up, take for example, you wake up, you go to the news, and the first thing that you see in the news is news about inflation and that prices of everything is going up. Let's say that's all you see as a headline, you put your phone down, you go to the gym. Your mind now is programmed in a way of, I guess, scarcity, and it's also primed in a way of, so the world is going against us. That's what that thing is giving you, is that things aren't going the right way. And though you may not have changed your mind, it may be sunny, maybe having a great day, your subconscious gets impressed by everything that you read, whether you are conscious of it or not. That's why it's called the subconscious. And if you've read any books about this stuff, the power of your subconscious mind, etc., you'll know that though it's not conscious, it has more power over your actions, thoughts, feelings than your conscious mind has, which is a scary thought, right? So think about this. What is in your subconscious, you're not conscious of it, but it affects everything that you consciously do. So we have to protect it. This means you go into the gym and then, they talk about, the gym prices or the prices that are going up, and you're like, oh, it's inflation, and then you feel negative, and that negativity flows through you, and then you don't have your best gym workout of the day, and then because you didn't have your best gym workout of the day, because your mind wasn't in its optimum state, it wasn't feeling positive, you're not feeling great, you're kind of disappointed, and you carry that over, and you knock on effect, and you go grab a coffee, and coffee spills, and then you're like, this morning, and that deal that you wanted to close didn't close, and it's just this cycle. And you'll always go to the cause, which is, oh, I didn't close that deal, how can I get better at closing deals? You won't recognize that all began by the look of a screen at 9 a.m. in the morning for 45 seconds. That's the power. That is the nature of the battle that we're fighting, right? The enemy just needs 10 seconds. The enemy just needs 30 seconds. It just needs a glimpse and it's breached your defenses. I was actually just watching Lord of the Rings, and we were watching Lord of the Rings: The Two Towers yesterday, and they call it Helm's Deep, an impenetrable fortress that nobody can get through, right? However, the enemies, the Uruk-hais, broke through the wall, and with a lot of force, right? So think of your subconscious mind like that, right? But right now, you don't have a fortress around it. The second you look at that phone in the morning, you've opened up the gates for suggestibility, for anything to flow in. And if you're not in control over what you're suggesting to your subconscious, then whatever is suggesting to it is in control of you. And this is where we call to building our mentality shield in the morning. So, what I've done, or what I decided to do, what I knew, common knowledge is, they always say, wake up, don't go on your phone. Now, when someone gives you instructions about doing something, it doesn't register until you know the effects of it, right? So, like, telling you as a child to not touch fire doesn't mean anything to a child until they either touch fire and realize that it burns, or somebody explains to them that if they put their hand into fire, the effect is going to be their hand burning. So saying, don't use your phone in the mornings to everybody and that's your only message isn't effective unless you know why you shouldn't use your phone in the morning. Second, I understood the depth into why I shouldn't, completely changed my perspective. I now felt like picking up my phone was losing the battle first thing in the morning. The battle of my mind. And the days where I did, and now I was aware of it, I was aware of what happened during those days or how my mind was. Whether it's I read a message from business, I go up and, you've got Slack messages. You're so tempted to read your messages in the first thing in the morning, but you're not in control over what those messages say. What about if you get a message that somebody's leaving your team, or that you've lost your job, or that, you're not hitting targets, or something negative from somebody? It dictates your day. You haven't prepared yourself to go into that battle. You haven't prepared yourself. You don't have a shield yet. You don't have the way to actually address that. You're just there. You're just fresh from sleep. So instead, what I started doing was I wouldn't pick up my phone first thing in the morning. First thing in the morning, I would go and I would look outside. I would get some sunlight into me, wake my brain up, show some appreciation. I would go, I would do some stretches, maybe some yoga, free up the body. You just slept, your body's all quirky, free it up, get the blood pumping, you feel good. Then I would go and I would then go and meditate 10-15 minutes, or I would go straight to the gym, work on my body first, go to the sauna, relax, think of all the great things in life, do my visualizations, think of the future that I want to come, the future that is here already, and just enjoy those feelings. Set myself up in the place of, okay, Joshua at X, or Joshua at this point, and take on a personality. And a great book that talks about this is Parallel Universe of Self by Frederick Dodson. It's a great book about putting yourself in the reality, right, in the parallel reality of the person you want to be, and not just thinking about it, but stepping into that. So when I do get that message that somebody has left my team, it doesn't matter anyway, because I'm in the self that is, making $1 million per year. That doesn't affect me. I'm successful already. It's all good. That way I handle that situation with calmness, without fear. The situation is going to be the same anyways, but the way I handle it is going to be different. And that's the key. Because when I handle that situation differently, right, in a positive action, it leads towards me doing more positive things. When I'm in control of what I input then, I'm in control of the actions. If someone says that idea isn't going to work, well, I'm in the state of I've already achieved, I've visualized it. So I keep pushing forward because it is going to work. And this is where the power of suggestibility is so powerful. And it goes broader than that to everything that you read, right? One of the biggest ones that I could have sort of realized was people's experiences. So there's a concept called, adopted experiences, right? So all truths are only half-truths. And what I mean by that is they are only true because you believe them to be true, and then they manifest within your life, and obviously they are true. Now, it's not actually a truth because it came from your own beliefs, right? And there's certain ones that, it's hard to grasp. There's certain universal rules and laws that are, I guess, true to a sense. But then there's thoughts and there's just experiences. So someone says, this method of marketing, you read a YouTube video and someone says, cold email is dead. You read cold email is dead. You believe it doesn't work. You attempt it doesn't work. It's true. Perfect. Move on. I knew that it wasn't right. Or you don't go ahead and continue with your cold email campaigns because you've gotten advice from this billionaire who said that cold email doesn't work for him. However, conversely, you watch another YouTube video by a different billionaire and he says that cold email is the only thing that allowed his business to grow. And you probably start noticing this the more that you get into the business world or whatever world you're in, that there's contradictory statements to everything. There's people who say, you can't do this, you can't make music and become successful at it, that it's saturated. Then you've got people who say that music is the easiest thing to get into. It's the easiest way for them to be successful and that it wasn't hard. So be careful of what you input into your mind. Choose what you want to input. Don't take on adopted experiences because that truth is someone else's experience, which you then adopt, and then it makes it become your experience. And this is one thing that even mentors, even I'm guilty of this, is I have my experiences in life, right? And someone new comes and asks me for advice. And I give them advice based on my experience and tell them, like, don't do this because this was hard for me. By me telling that to them, it's going to be hard for them. And it was probably hard for me because somebody else told me that it was going to be hard as well. So I've just given that person an adopted experience. What I take from people is the things that I know that works. Whenever somebody who's successful tells me something like, oh yeah, it took me 5 years to do that, so like, it's not easy, it's going to take you 5 years, I'm very careful that actually what's happening here is this person is externalizing their experiences onto myself without realizing it, assuming that my experience is going to be the exact same, which isn't true. I could have a completely different experience. That thing that took them 5 years, I could do it in 12 months, right? Just because they went about it a different way that led to that outcome doesn't mean that there isn't a different way that can lead me to a different outcome. There always isn't a way. There always is a million other half-truths. And this is where everything from criticism to negativity, if someone criticizes you, if someone says that can't work, that's why some of the best people of all time seem to go against the grain. They used to have this thing, right? And Steve Jobs had this thing that they used to call his reality distortion field, where he would believe something or say something was going to be true, or like he was going to do something and everybody tells him no. But he didn't believe it at all. He lived in this world, sometimes to an extreme extent, that the thing he said was going to happen would happen. And at the end of the day, it did. And it's not this woo-woo manifestation thing, it's just that the belief of him saying that it's going to happen and it is true means that his mind himself, his conscious abilities, pushed him towards the way of making it true, right? And it's just going to lead you to wherever you lead it. So having your own reality distortion field is your most powerful tool of creativity. You can create anything from this state. You can create all the scenarios in life that you've ever dreamt of for yourself. And this is why sometimes blocking out the noise, blocking out the advice, blocking out over-information is the best way to go. And the reason why people procrastinate and stick still and don't do things is because of this flood of contradictory information, which makes them sort of like double-check every decision that they want to make because they're not sure if it's right or wrong. That uncertainty puts them into a state of fear, which makes them stand still. But when you don't have that and all you have is a unwavering belief that whatever you choose and whatever feels good to you can come true, then you just naturally follow the flow of your intuition of life, or whatever it is that you do to believe, and that naturally leads you to the outcome. And that is the secret. That is all the books you can read about your subconscious mind, your mind, manifestation, whatever, it's all going to lead back to the power over everything you have is within your own mind. It's within your own beliefs. And this is why watching YouTube videos, watching podcasts, all those sort of things don't make you successful. They can inspire you, right? They can. But an overconsumption of these things doesn't make you successful, right? People can watch this stuff just for the gratification of it. But you have to be careful. You have to be careful that the more you take in, the more you're giving yourself contradictory statements. And knowing this then, pick one route you want to go to. Let's say, for example, you're starting a company. Do I want to bootstrap it or do I want to go raise funding, right? Which one do you want? What would you like? Do you want to raise funding? Does that sound exciting to you? Would you want to have your own bootstrap company? Whichever one it is, pick one of those and then only consume content that supports that statement. That way it builds your belief even stronger. So it goes from just a belief to a overarching, architecture of how you do things, your overriding program. So it goes to your identity. And then your identity influences the program, which influences your thoughts, which influences your emotions and feelings about doing that thing, which then influences your actions, which then influences everything. It's like building a house, right? It doesn't start from the bricks. You don't say that the house wasn't built right because of the bricks itself. Or was it because of the builders? Or was it because of the architect's plan? Or was it because of the actual architect themselves? It's because of the architect themselves. It starts from the top down bottom, right? And your top is what you absorb into your mind. So preparing for your battle is just preparing your mentality shield, right? There's no more information you need to know. You don't need to become aware of things, right? You don't need to prepare yourselves for the worst outcome, right? It's an addiction. Just like any addiction, it's hard to break, right? We're so used to doing it. The key with addictions people don't seem to understand is they think that an addiction is only a substance, like alcohol or nicotine. And the reason that those things are addictive is because they have a certain thing. No. Something that's addictive just is something that you do that you feel like you enjoy doing, or not that you even enjoy doing, that gives your body a sort of satisfaction from it. And if that's reading news, then you do have an addiction to reading news. Because when you read news, you feel good about it, so you're addicted to it. So you must break that addiction first, right? Addiction is the way that enemy comes into your mind. And this sort of understanding and freedom of thought has freed up a lot of uncertainty in my career decisions, and the way I look at business, and the way I look at anything I do. I sort of always look first at Josh. What do you want? What do you think? And once I know what I think and what I want, then I just look for resources that help me do that thing that I want or do better, or that affirm my statements, and anything that contradicts it, I ignore. I defend away. And I begin this every day by waking up, making sure I'm not on my phone first thing, that I'm first in a peaceful state, and that I reaffirm what my beliefs are first before somebody else tells me theirs. Because see it as like every night you go to sleep, your brain sort of resets. Right? You can't do it once and that's it forever. It's like going to the gym. You can't go to the gym for, 8 months in a row and then stop and think that your progress just keeps there. The second you stop, you actually at the same time start to deteriorate. If you stopped working out and eating healthy and went on a 3-week binge of alcohol and unhealthy foods and no workouts, your belly would get big again. And the same thing with your mind. You can't do all the stuff. You can't say, yeah, I know my beliefs, I know what I believe in. Go to sleep, wake up, and then not reaffirm it to yourself for 7 days. Who's controlling you then? You've completely gone back. Your mind resets to whatever it's being told. Until you've built up over time, like a habit, you build up a habit of thinking, a habit of thought. It takes time to change that program underneath, right? If you've been thinking one way for 21 years, why do you think that reading one book for 30 days is going to change that whole program forever? It may give you a new insight into how you want your program to look, but to actually change it and change it forever, it's a longer journey. And that's also something I've realized is you can't just do all this stuff once. You can't just remind yourself of who you are and what you want to do once and that's it. You have to remind yourself over and over and over again. And this takes away the wooiness out of things like affirmations. Like, oh my god, what's an affirmation? Why do you do that? It's just like saying stuff. No. You're saying it to continually remind yourself, your mind, your brain. Think of your brain as a muscle. You're going to your gym. The gym for your brain is what you affirm to it and give it every single day. And you have to work it out to get strong, but it can be stronger. And then we maintain that. That's why we do those morning routines, because that's sort of like what one of my mentors, Nero, and I had him as my mentor, taught me is kind of like, it's called your metaphysical morning. So metaphysical in terms of like your thoughts and your reality. You start your day with that first. With putting it in a shield, with getting your thoughts in line. Then you attack the day. And anytime I've done that, the day feels a lot more productive. I feel more control. Everything seems to flow in alignment with what I do want to believe. And when I don't, I feel like I'm just kind of like at the helms and I'm just reacting. And what I am reacting to is what I have put into my subconscious, which I'm not really sure about what was that earlier on. But it's there. It might have been something that I read on Twitter. It might have been a conversation I had with a friend the night before. That could be the role this morning. It could be an issue that I had 6 years ago that runs. It could be a feeling that I've had for a while. That's running my day. And when you don't know what's running your day, you're not in control. So, yeah, it's, I guess, it's a paradox in itself, but it's really easy. And it takes away, as I said, for me, you guys understand this, is it takes away the will to be like, why do I have to check my mind in the morning? Why do I not want to pick up my phone? Why do I want to meditate? Why do I want to do affirmations? When you understand the severity that it can cause in your day and your actions. And then when you understand the freedom and positivity that it does give you, having control over all of those, do you never want to go back again? So I ask all you guys to put on your mentality shield every single morning. And listen, sometimes we forget, sometimes life gets busy. But remember that life is only what you are putting into it, through your thoughts, through your feelings, through your beliefs. Anytime life gets busy and I feel like I'm forgetting and things get out of control, I always remember to come back to this. And now my journey and my game is just trying to become as more and more consistent and never forgetting. So that I do always remember, so that my metaphysical morning is the first thing that I do all the time. So that I am not taken control of by the news, by what's going on outside, by what they want you to believe. And when I say what they want you to, I'm not really into that whole belief that there's this whole, group of people trying to take over and the Matrix and all. But I do believe that all the news and stuff, they understand the effects of your mind, and they consciously make sure that the news that gets out is negative because they know that most people don't have a protection over them. And they know that if they want people to stick in line, give them information, and it's lodged in the subconscious, and they will do the actions that you expect them. If you say prices are going up and everything, everyone's going to start being scarce and start saving money, which may help them out. Maybe there's more money in the banks, maybe there's less in circulation. If they say that the economy is great and everyone's spending, it increases spend in the population and they achieve what they want to achieve. See, the masters of the world are not masters of business or masters of things, they're masters of the mind. They know how to control it. But you don't need to run away from anybody. You don't need to fight against anybody. You just need to take control over your mind, and you're no longer in their battle. You're free. So, this week, as you go into it, protect your mind, watch what you do, be aware of your actions, and say, what did I put into my mind that caused me to have these actions or this event? Most of the time you'll know that it's from a belief that you have. Write down everything you believe about money, about work. Business is hard. You have to grind hard. If you don't grind, this doesn't do this. All the things that you seem to not like, but you just do because I guess that's what they say. All those things, change it. Tell yourself business is easy. Tell yourself you don't have to grind. Tell yourself that you just go with the flow and the right things happen. And watch how everything changes. Well, I'll see you on next week's episode on YouTube. And hopefully this was useful for you guys. Thank you.